It's been quite the journey to become the president of the EDPA. Why don't you just share a little bit about how we got here?
Okay. Well, a lot of our listeners are EDPA members and they know, but for those that don't, the Experiential Designer and Producers Association is really the community of exhibit builders, creative designers and agencies, and the specialized suppliers that serve the business events industry. And I've been a member for 20 years. Became a board member about 10 or 12 years ago, and served on the 24-person board, and then was tapped about 7 or 8 years ago to join the executive committee. I was a very passive board member, kind of hid in the back in the crowd, and I thought, I think the president of the EC at the time that recruited me said, it's probably a couple of more calls a month. And I thought, oh, okay. And it's a lot. It's a lot of work. But everybody that's involved really now on the full board, as well as the executive committee, just committed, passionate leaders in our industry. And they're great people, inspiring. So anyway, you do about a 5 or 6 year term as a vice president on the executive committee. And ultimately, if you don't screw up, you are asked to take the presidency. So I was just handed the gavel last week in Bonita Springs, Florida, at our annual meeting, which was a record turnout. 325 members showed. It was a terrific, terrific event. A lot of energy. Man, this is just a great community. And I think I saw 50 or 60 first-time attendees. We've got a lot of young, new, developing contributors in the industry that are joining. There's a new group called Future Leaders. That was exciting. They are just killing it. The chapter system, which used to be just a couple of very strong EDPA chapters regionally, they're now in every corner of the U.S., and they were all there and representing. So it was Dan Sarabin, the president that stepped down, a wonderful leader. We had him on the show, I think a month ago, talking about all the variables in the economy, which, God, it was a great episode, wasn't it? And so Dan handed the gavel over, and so I'm now up for a 2-year term, and maybe we'll have a minute to talk a little bit about what the agenda is going to be.
Yeah, of course. Would love to hear, because I heard raving things about the safety meeting. We're just so safe now. We're secure.
Oh, that made its way to you, eh? Yeah, for those, anybody that's listening right now that was there, I know you're smiling because, confession time. The Griffin brothers have been known for 15 years for having these safety meetings, right? And I will tell you the origin. When my brother Dan joined our company, he works as hard as most of the people in this industry work, right? Which long hours, taking calls at home at night, working weekends, all that stuff. But anyway, we'd come a long day, and Dan, we might want to stop and have an adult beverage on the ride home, or occasionally smoke a cigar. And so we would call the wives and say, we're going to be a little late tonight. There's got to attend this safety meeting at the company. And my wife was always, safety meeting? Oh, well, you take as much time as you need, right? Who doesn't want to support safety, Khalil? And I go, my God, this is fantastic, right? So over time, right, that was the case. Then we would travel to shows. We'd be doing a show in Las Vegas or Chicago, and you'd see a couple of friends that are in for the show, industry people, and you go, hey, there's a safety meeting at the pub up the street, or back at the hotel around the fire pit. Safety meeting? Yeah. And so we had this funny, all right, before we order drinks, let's do a quick health and wellness check around the table. Anybody get hurt today on the show floor moving in? Anybody stub a foot or bruised, stiff back? Anybody have a headache? Anybody feel? And after about 60 seconds of that charade, we'd say, okay, any new business? No? All right, meeting adjourned. Can we get a couple of cold beers over here, please? Anyway, that's how it started. Khalil, I'll tell you, 15 years later, we've had safety meetings literally all over the world. And really, it's just a reason for like-minded people that work in the trade show and business event space to get together and share some good fellowship and camaraderie. We introduced it about 10 or 12 years ago at an EDPA access conference. If you were in early the night before the festivities started, there'd be a safety meeting out in the hotel patio somewhere. Someone would bring a box of cigars. Somebody else would bring maybe a nice bottle of bourbon or scotch, and we'd sip a little and talk and catch up. That has grown, and to the point where in April this year there was a safety meeting in Louisville, Kentucky, the Exhibitor Live show. There was 60 people that attended that safety meeting. So Crew XP sponsored at this year's Access the welcome reception, and we came out of the closet. We invited all 325 attendees. We turned the welcome reception into a giant safety meeting. And so we had safety glasses for everyone, very cool Bono-esque, looking tinted blue. We had custom lapel pins made that say EDPA Safety Committee. So if you got one of those coveted pins, you now know you're part of the secret society. It was just a great time, great energy. This really is a big family that just is the engine that makes all these corporate events work. And it's not just in the U.S. Huge turnout from our friends at IFAS, which is the European international version of EDPA, were there, and they participated. So we were fortunate enough to be the sponsors, and we chose to create the biggest safety meeting we've ever had. And so if you're listening and you were there, I know you're laughing. If you're new to this and you want a pin, call me. You might have a few rare ones left, but it was really a great time. Great.
Well, I'm sure that for the next 2 years, the EDPA is in safe hands. And
I see you did that. I see that. That was very clever, Khalil.